Hello, hi. I want a quick disclaimer before we start. Number one, my voice is going to be drastically different at very random points in this video. That's because I've had to change locations like 5 different times while recording this. So, it's going to be a little bit jarring, just bear with me. Number two, this is Fear and Hunger, obviously. It is a horrible game, so if you're squeamish about a lot of things, probably don't watch this video, alright? And lastly, I am Australian. I basically use swear words to punctuate my sentences. I am not an edgelord who thinks swearing is inherently funny. It genuinely is just how I speak. So if you think Hasbin Hotel is the most obnoxious shit you've ever heard of, I wouldn't blame you for not watching this video. 12th of August, 2024. The fateful day where a man named Fropolo94 beat the dungeons of Fear and Hunger as only the girl, even getting all the S endings, somehow. Which made me curious if it was possible to do a similar thing in the game's sequel, Fear and Hunger Termina. Well, I mean, obviously not. The girl is not a playable character in Fear and Hunger 2. Though, if we use Marina as our girl stand-in and follow a lot of the similar rules that Fropolo had to follow in his run, I think we can get pretty damn close. So let's get the show on the road, seeing if it's possible to get an ending with just the girl in Fear and Hunger 2. So obviously we're going to have to jump through a few hoops to make this run actually work in the game's sequel, so here's how I got the rules to work. So with that said, here are the rules we'll have to follow for the run, divided into 3 categories. The first category being world rules. These are pretty simple, just only one person in the party at a time, meaning me, and I cannot use any glitches or skips to avoid fights. Next category is character rules. Pretty simple as well. Since the girl has very limited weapon options, I'm only allowed to use the knife as my melee weapon for the playthrough. I must play as Marina. And thirdly, I can't use empty scrolls, which, shouldn't be a problem. Now, if that was it, the challenge run honestly wouldn't even be that hard. But unfortunately, the way that Fropolo decided to do his run ended up being quite buggy, which is our third category, mimicking the bugs. I'm pretty sure all of these bugs come from the problem that despite the girl being the only person in the party, she wasn't considered the main character, locking her out of a lot of very important features and making the run a lot more painful because of that. So these last restrictions are, cannot use the Hexen at all, cannot block coin flip attacks, and I must instead correctly guess the coin flip, cannot use the talk option ever, and I cannot use the escape skill for escaping. I must instead use the fight or escape menu, which doesn't seem like it's different, but it actually is very different, and I don't even remember why. But yeah, there it is. Put a bow on it. This intro is too long. Let's start. Sitting on the train, I begin mapping out how I'm gonna need this run to go. Realistically, I'm just hoping to get one of the endings before I branch off and try to get all of them, so I'm aiming for B ending. Because of our abysmally low DPS, we're going to want to kill as many contestants as possible before they can Moonscorch, which includes trying to get to Saint-Marie on day 1 before she which meant I had to get through the gates of the city on morning of day 1, which left me with the choice between going with Abella, getting Tanaka killed and having to deal with Henrik later, or having Abella Moonscorch, Tanaka probably dying later anyways, and Henrik, but all at the cost of having to go through the sewers instead. But before I could even make up my mind on which one would be better, I was blessed with getting a Venushka Bible inside Marina's backstory, giving me a third option to avoid both scenarios. Seeing this, I decided it's probably best to go with Henrik, as the gentleman is kind of a pain in the ass. Not to mention the Mayor's Manor has some very useful books I could use later. I decided to kill Karen early as I didn't really feel like keeping up with her, and I also wasn't really sure if I was ever going to get any stronger in this run, so I didn't think I had much to lose in doing it now. I make it there generally unscathed after getting stuck in the woods for like 10 minutes. I make it to the manor, finding some useless skin Bibles and Alchemical Volume 3, as well as a Book of Enlightenment, which, wow! Would you look at that? After doing Henrik's random side questy nonsense, I almost get filleted alive trying to leave town, forgetting how absolutely terrible these feral bastards are when you can't tell them to leave you alone. I'm so fucking dead. I use a Venushka skin Bible to get up to the Rainforest convention uptown, where I'm attacked by the surviving converts, though luckily managed to get away with only minor poisoning. All things considered, I definitely dodged a bullet with that one. Could have been much worse. Except I didn't dodge those bullets because I completely forgot that there are people with guns up here, putting an end to our first run. Also, am I the only one who just never knew that Pocket Cat can find you here? I've never seen this before. Alright, attempt 2. We head to the manor, spare Karen, dupe the smartest person in Priaville, and then, without a shadow of the doubt, get maybe one of the best RNG I have ever seen inside the Mayor's Manor. Getting Alchemia Volume 2 and 3, every single skin Bible except for Grogoroth, and a Book of Enlightenment, again. I also found 2 ballistic shields, which would be great if the girl could hold shields. At least the leather armor is light enough for the girl to wear. One of the only sets light enough for us to wear. Despite all this good luck, I never found a bear trap, so I wasn't really confident I'd be able to kill the priest. And I also don't remember if sleeping in the bed would have the priest attack you first, or Samari. I didn't want to risk it, so I head back to the train to save using the Fear and Hunger sigil. Which, I feel like I should have something for this. Like, this is literally the girl from Fear and Hunger 1. So, should I only save here because of that connection, or not save here because technically that doesn't exist? Because we're just gonna ignore this and keep going. Back at the manor, we sleep in the bed, and oh wow, it is Samari. Alright, lucky me. I attack her and I'm kind of surprised she even fight back. Whoa, no. I honestly forgot Samari was packing hurting. Alright, we run it back, kill Karen, bear trap. We run it back, kill Karen, then stop. And think. Because at this point, we had a completely different plan. You see, I had basically no health and no way to heal myself because I couldn't craft any good healing. Best I could do was waste all of my materials trying to heal 1 health bar. So the plan, kill Karen, get her head, get to Pocket Cat, and then I can trade that head to get Alchemia Volume 1. Meaning I can craft like all the medical items I need. Here's the problem, I couldn't kill Karen without basically being on death's door. That's a problem because basically any way I could get to Pocket Cat, I would literally get gunned down before I got there. The only way to get to Pocket Cat without having to go through a shooter was to go through the main gate, which I couldn't do anymore because I lost Abella. Here's the thing though, I mentioned that there were 2 ways to get into the city, then I mentioned that there was actually a third. Well, turns out there's a secret 4th way. If you interact with this random bush on the floor 3 times, it will give you a pair of bolt cutters that can be used to get into the city. When I first saw this, I thought it was a shitpost. I didn't think this was real. And fuck it, while we're here, there's actually a secret 5th way into the city. If you have a shotgun, you can blow the lock off the door. So fuck you, there's tons of ways. I'm using this one. Into the city, I find Levi in a basement somewhere, which I found really weird. Like, I could have sworn this was only like an afternoon of day 1 thing, not a morning of day 1 thing. I really don't know the spawns of this game at all. But unfortunately, some spawns make their presence known. With the full set of Alchemia in our possession, we're able to make a lot of very good meds. Luckily, Needles didn't come from this side, so we're able to slip off into the alleyways. Unfortunately, Needles follows me, but doesn't come from directly behind, thank God. So we're able to pretty easily dodge these fecal hounds. What a fucking name. We do a bit of looting around before trying to slip past the second group of fecal hounds, and oh my god, leave me the fuck alone! I retreat back and decide to go through the destroyed part of the city instead because, god, I just hate that fucking alleyway. I swear, only bad things ever come from that place. I get all the way to the end of the area, right before the merchant I'm looking for, only to realize that you can't actually go this way and you need to get a shortcut. Okay. Back we go, through the alleyway. Oh my fucking god! I almost died to the goddamn fecal hounds because my damage is just that terrible. But we luckily managed to, holy shit, get alive. But deep breaths. We made it. We save at the bar using a sigil because they don't really fancy passing time yet. And then we slog through the stupidest building in the entire game. Why the fuck did you make it like this, Miro? Before finally reaching the merchant, where we can purchase a small things amulet. Pairing that with the sigil of Fear and Hunger graciously carved onto our face, allows us to reach 20 agility. With 20 agility, we not only get the ability to have 2 actions per turn, barring the first turn, but you also get a guaranteed 100% chance to escape from all combat encounters, except boss fights, and contestants, for some reason. With our newfound power, we head straight into the orphanage, and die. Because I really thought I was going to beat one of these dudes with a fucking knife. I didn't even try to run away. I let it happen. The fuck is wrong with me? So we do all of that again. This time, instead of going to die in the orphanage, I decide to head to the bookstore so I could kill Saint-Marie. Although instead of using the shortcut I unlocked like 2 seconds ago, I decided to go through the alleyway I wanted to avoid so badly. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh fuck. Oh shit. Oh my fucking god. Well, shit. I don't think there's a worse place to be in this game than in between the mob and Needles. You might as well throw the fucking horse in there too. Fear and hunger giveth, fear and hunger taketh away. What the fuck? So yeah, it turns out there's just a random cocoon head here, who is not part of the mob, for some reason. Thank my stars, I thought I would have had to do another 5 minutes of running, and had to go through that stupid fucking building again. We take him out pretty quickly before heading into the moldy apartments to despawn Needles. Fuck that guy. I knew I was more than likely in for a fight on the way to the library, with multiple bobbies in the way, one literally in the building, and a gunman to worry about. But luckily with our current kit, we have a pretty good— oh my fucking god! I'm going to fucking skin you alive. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I just threw glass in his eye and stabbed him in the chest until he died. I was so fucking over this guy. It didn't even bother burning him, just stabs, just like 100 stab wounds. Although at the very least, I hope this does serve as a good example of what a child should do in this kind of situation. So next time you see a kid being terrified in a horror movie, just know that kid is a little bitch. We quickly move on to bullying the bobbies onto the floor, and then 6 feet under it, jumping the gunman, jumping another bobby, and then finally jumping Saint-Marie inside the library. Of course, the girl, being the traumatized little saint she is, does not concern herself with getting her arm blown off. Not like we were getting much use out of it anyways. With that, we finally sleep for reals, only to quickly get jumped by a death mask, then the mob, then we die. And then I took like a week break. And then I came back. And then I got jumped by a death mask and killed by the mob. Same places.
What the definition of insanity is.
Actually remembering what the fuck I'm here to do, instead of running straight into the arms of the mob, I start hunting down contestants, starting with Levi, who was still hiding in a kitchen. Then quickly heading back down to the docks to go kill Dan, who didn't put up much of a fight until he did this shit to me. I completely forgot this was even a thing. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he also gives me a bleed I literally couldn't fix, because somehow I had found like 2 cloth fragments in the entire run. So we run across country in a bunch of areas I tried so hard to avoid, just to find a piece of cloth, which I didn't. So I resorted to a plan B of just walking my ass through the entirety of the church basement to use a Sylvian sigil in the basement. At least I got my arm back. Yippee! Oh, and we got one of the idols out of it, so that's, you know, a step forward, I guess. We decide to stick with that train of progress, heading all the way back down to the forest to use a Venushka Bible to head up into the evil forest. All of this to avoid the mob who was fucking spawn camping the goddamn alleyways. All so we can make it to the orphanage. And honestly, it's absurd I died here at all, ever. Like, barely any enemies actually get in your way as long as you fall through the basement to skip the classrooms. And for these gangly fuckers, there is like almost always a way to just walk right past them. It's not even hard to do, even if you didn't have the instant escape stuff that I do, making it pretty damn easy to snag the idol and make my way out, leaving 10 contestants and 1 idol to go. We then get completely hammered at a local bar, fall asleep in their basement, making it night of day 1. Before trying to stumble home into our apartments, then finding out I forgot to separate the colors in my washing. God damn it. A completely normal scenario to happen to a 9-year-old girl. This tragedy is only lightly overshadowed by the fact that we now have to trudge through another rare dimension, though this one is almost easier than the last one. Honestly, it's kind of ridiculous how untouchable I am unless I very specifically get pinned between 2 enemies. The worst thing I have to deal with in this place is Now that I think about it, like 90% of the difficulty of this challenge is entirely combat-wise, so the fact that I can just run away from most encounters, the difficulty was always going to be very situational. And turns out, we found one of those situations, which was Osa, who hits us with hurting, and then Mischief of Rats, and yeah, we fucking die. Wow, that is going to be a problem. Forward later, we're doing something else. So we try again, cheesing the ever-living shit out of our guaranteed escape chance to head into the moldy apartments, do all that again, yada yada. But we decide to leave Osa alone for a while, instead heading out to hunt all the other contestants we could reasonably get our hands on, and Abella is the first one that comes to mind. Although the game decided to throw me a pretty generous curveball of a salmon snake rune. I don't think I've had a luckier run in my entire life. I completely abandoned the boss fight, instead heading home to save just to keep this one item. It was now morning of day 2, which means the entire game is going to start moving at a breakneck speed as I quickly rush to kill off all the contestants while I still can. So let me fill you in on the plan of action. First things first, we head to the entrance of the city to watch Mako and Tanaka be publicly executed for being a gay couple in the 1940s, taking 2 contestants off our list. Then we head down to the train and bully Olivia into the grave now that her big strong men have too many bullet holes in them to do anything about it. I always feel bad about this one. After that we go kill Abella, head up and deal with Sergal, then deal with Osa. With that done, we go and sleep to progress time. We wake up to the Henrik and Caligura confrontation where Henrik dies, Caligura also dies, but I did that before finally heading to sleep in the library, confronting Pav at the front of the tower, where the last contestant falls, and we can finally end the game. At least that's the plan. Does it work? No! So now let's go through what actually happened. The plan starts off fine, watching the Tanako ship die right in front of my eyes, and making it to Abella with no problems. And unlike real life, all our problems start once we meet a muscle mommy. You see, she has remarkably weak health on her chest, meaning we could easily take her out in maybe 2 to 3 turns. Here's the problem. Not only does she hit very hard, she also tends to... That's bad. You see, what's happening here is that on Shagnar's first turn, she's going to blow her trumpet, which will cause pressure to build in our character's head. And on Shagnar's second turn, it will make your head explode. And as far as I know, there is nothing you can do about it. Our only option is to kill her before she gets to her second turn. Problem is, our knife ain't gonna fucking cut it. Pun intended. So we do all of that again. Another day, another public execution. We get back to Shagnar and try to kill her again, and then die again. What was that joke I made fucking 5 minutes ago?
Did I ever tell you the definition?
We go and watch another public execution, which at this point, you wouldn't think you'd get desensitized this quickly, but I am over this. Because I actually had a plan this time. You see that 75 health? Well, throwing a lantern actually does over 250 damage, which means we only need to land 3 of them, and we just so happen to get 3 turns before she gets her second turn. Meaning as long as we don't miss, oh for fuck's, which means as long as we don't miss, Shagnar down. With Shibugu down, we decide to go explore the basement anyways, since I powered up the generator, I might as well. Only for Shagnar to get fucking reincarnated and destroy the elevator. What? Is this normal? Is this a glitch? Does this happen? Well, we can't go back through the elevator, but luckily there is a rare dimension we can slip through, and we manage to make it to the other side unscathed. Afterwards, we head back up into the city to confront August, where I managed to get really unlucky and then really lucky. We use a Fear and Hunger sigil in the basement of the church and then head up to fight Sergal. Now this guy does not fuck around. He could easily one-shot me in 1 turn. Luckily, to win this fight, all you have to do is take one of his arms off. Problem is that it has 2,000 health. But how am I supposed to attack him when I'm constantly being murdered? The best strat I could think of is applying a dot at the very start, hope I don't get killed, then using my extra turn to heal, and my normal turn to guard the attacks. And hopefully it'll eventually burn his arm off. That was taking way too long, and I was still getting killed. Sergal was just doing way too much damage for me to realistically survive. So I had to figure out a way to stop him from fucking me up so much. But with no skills, no better armor, I didn't really have too many options. So I kind of got distracted and started watching Frapolo videos, where I discovered a little video about how the blindness mechanic works. You see, in Fear and Hunger and in real life, throwing glass in someone's eye is kind of bad for them, and makes it pretty hard to see out of those eyes, which in turn would make it far more likely for Sergal to miss his hits. Problem is that Sergal is pretty resistant to blindness. At least, you know, that's how you think it would work, but actually, I don't want to get into all the specifics because it's at least a 2-minute long explanation, but if you throw glass at a limb instead of his face, you can blind a specific limb, making its accuracy plummet. This is profoundly stupid, and of course, it works on the first try, making it very easy for us to just guard all the damage while a dot completely melts his arm off. And yeah, that's Sergal down. Kind of anticlimactic? Whatever, it's not over yet. Because now we have to deal with Osa. Osa was basically the Shagnar problem all over again, but far worse. Where if I didn't kill them fast enough, I was guaranteed to die. Except instead of getting 3 turns before I died, I had 1. You see, him casting Hurting was bad enough because that's 50% of my health gone, but Mischief of Rats has a very high chance to stun you for 3 turns, which is a guaranteed death. And you're probably saying, well, just throw glass at the limbs, that'll stop it, and you know, that would make sense, but no. Because of course, magic attacks don't actually use accuracy, so using glass to lower their accuracy doesn't do anything, which means I had no choice but to one-shot Osa somehow. The knife wasn't enough, the lantern wasn't enough, so in a brazen Hail Mary, I just throw a Murky Vial at him, hoping to blow his arms off, and then accidentally one-shot him. Because it took his head out. Okay then, it seems the solution to most of the hardest problems in this game is just to throw a different item at them and win instantly. I'm not sure I'm really a fan of what this run is turning into. But we're basically at the end, so let's just roll this over. We head back down to the train yard to sleep in the bed, making it afternoon of day 2. We then watch that one Logan Paul fight, and then immediately blow up the Victor. Is it this easy to just kill everyone? You know, I am plenty aware that I'm an incredibly amazing person at everything I do, even to the point where Gooseworks even gave me a cameo in their season finale. But even still, this felt just a little too easy if you ask me. We head to the library to sleep to make it night of day 2, where we finish off Pav and finally enter the tower after doing every single drug we had available. Where Perkele reveals his true form, and that this whole thing was a furry convention all along. Who would have thought those mad owl cultists were onto something? There are only 3 things in this fight to worry about. Firstly, the Lunar Meteor he cast with his right hand, doing a hell of a lot of damage. Secondly, his left wing casting a bunch of knife feathers at us that cause bleeding, though luckily because of the Salmon Snake rune, we don't have to worry about that. And thirdly, he can cover his chest with his wing to prevent us from DPSing his chest to death. Unfortunately for him though, we managed to light his chest on fire in the first turn, meaning even after he covers it, he's still burning to death, which makes this a dramatically easy win. I won't lie, Perkele, I'm disappointed. Couldn't even beat a child. And since we never reached day 3, that is the end of the run. We don't even have to fight the fucking moon. Now obviously this was the easiest of the 3 endings, so you know, getting this isn't some grand achievement, but you know, we all gotta start somewhere. I'm most likely going to do a part 2 to this video where I go all out and do like a masochist mode A ending or something, or at the very least come back and kill that stupid moon. Different stories for different times, I'm afraid. Because this run, this ending, and this video are over. I hope you enjoyed. It was a bit of an experience to make this video. I didn't think it would go the way it did, but you know, here we are. I hope I explained things semi-coherently, and just one last thanks to Frapolo for inspiring this run, and inadvertently helping me with the circle fight. That was unexpected. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to go check out my Remnant video. It is barely similar in the slightest. And if you don't like and subscribe, don't forget the mob is still alive and I will very happily point the finger. Have an abysmal day.